Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got two whopping great big ones for you today. Claire Sweeney, how are you?
Hello.
Tony Maudsley, nice to see you.
When you say great big ones.
This is what I'm leading to. Here we are at Hairspray in Sheffield, and I've been begging to talk to you for nearly a year, and I've been begging to see the show for a year, and I finally got to see it here in Sheffield, and it's terrific. There aren't many shows that go on tour that compare to the West End, but this actually does, doesn't it?
Well, do you know what? We've been very lucky that we got Drew McConey on board, who's the hottest new choreographer around. And he's done something special to the show that I personally think wasn't there before. And he's just taken it to another level, hasn't he?
He really has. His choreography is brilliant. And also is casting for the dancers as well, the ensemble. And, you know, he's just picked the creme de la creme, really. Brilliant.
What's it like being you coming into this show and doing it 8 times a week? Because you've got to give it everything. There's no phoning it in. It's a high energy show, isn't it?
Yeah, no, the audience won't let you phone it in. I mean, Hairspray's got its own followers. So we kind of take the lead from them, really. I mean, you go out and you feel that audience straight away, and we know if they're enjoying themselves. And as soon as we hear that coming back at us, the show just goes up a notch. And like you say, I mean, the music's so up there. You just can't help but enjoy yourselves, and you can see when you've seen it the other night how much we are enjoying ourselves. By the end of the show, we're bouncing up and down with them. It's fantastic.
You're following in big braziers, because I mean Michael Ball did this and Brian Connolly, two phenomenal West End performers. Was there a moment when you thought, should I do this or shouldn't I?
No, absolutely. When this was first offered to me, I said no, absolutely not, mainly because I'd not done a musical for 18 years. I was quite comfortable in my comfort zone doing lots of television and nice films and stuff, and I thought I feel too old to go back on tour, and I'm living the easy life. But it was my agent, really. She said to me, you spent 3 years at drama school trying to hone these amazing skills, and if you don't do something soon, you're going to lose them. And I thought, do you know what, she's right. I've not done anything for 12 years. I haven't done a musical for 18 years. So I said, okay. I said, I'll go away and I'll have a listen to Hairspray. I put the CD on, and it took me about 5 minutes to say, yeah, I want to go for that. I thought I'm going to have a good time doing that. And I went for the interview and I got the job the next day. So here we are.
And it's interesting. I saw it originally on Broadway nearly 15 years ago with Harvey, and you've got that sort of affectation that he had, which is we are clearly watching a guy being a woman, but by the end of the show we believe you're real, which is the key to Hairspray, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me that was the big challenge. I mean, I'm 20 stone. Shut up, Claire. And 6'4", a bit more maybe, a bit more. All them takeaways on tour. And I thought I can't disguise the fact that I'm a 20 plus stone, 6'4" man. And I thought if I tried to do that, I think John Travolta tried to do that in the film, and he put that high pitched, affected woman's voice. For me, that didn't work. So I thought I'm going to go completely the other way, and hopefully use all my other skills to try and get the audience on side. So it was a challenge for me to get them over the fact that they were watching a 6'4", 20 stone man, and just sort of join her gradually on that journey, which hopefully we've cracked, because I mean they're so on side with her by the end of the show.
And I thought Your Timeless to Me was one of the best I've ever seen. The chemistry between you and Peter was really lovely. Yeah,
no, thank you so much. Me and Peter have a very similar off-stage relationship that we have on stage, and it kind of filters through. We're extremely fond of each other.
What that means is you boss him about.
I boss him about.
And he lets you boss him about.
He lets me, yeah. He's quite henpecked, both on and off stage.
He's great in the role. And then we turn to you and look at what you do with Van Tussle, which is so remarkable, because we hear the name Claire Sweeney and we know that you're an actress, you're a TV star, you've done movies, we know you've done musicals, but hearing you in this, it really gives you a chance to sing and shine. These songs are great for you.
It does. I mean, to be honest, I don't really see this show as a great show for singing for me. I see it more as just a great acting role. Because I've done shows where I did Tell Me on a Sunday where it's 28 songs on your own, and that is, that's a nice thing. But this to me is just kind of, she's such a great character, and I'm enjoying playing the character, really.
She really has got some balls, this woman, more than you in a way.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you've seen the point that she gets to at the end. I mean, and it still changes from night. People don't know what she's going to do from night to night, and which is hugely enjoyable for all of us as well.
And may I say, you came amongst Monsters on Monday night, and you smelt delicious.
Oh, thank you. Well, do you know what?
I noticed.
You know what I do before? Because during I know where I've been, I make sure I cover myself in Joe Malone and get mouthwash on, because I know that I could be straddling someone in the audience. So,
And you do waft as you come past, so it works, that, Claire.
that's really funny.
Let's talk about both of you individually. When we look at you, Tony, I think most people most recently will know you for Benidorm. I'm going to get onto that. But what's extraordinary about your CV is you have done more stuff than most people can do in a lifetime. It's incredible.
I was really lucky right at the start of my career. The first job I did as a drama school was a musical theatre job, actually. I did Pickwick with Harry Seacombe. And I'm not a singer. I would never claim to be a singer, so I thought I can't go down that route. So I got chosen to do a film called A Life for a Life, the Stefan Kishko story, which people from the north will be more familiar with. It was set in Rochdale, about an injustice of a guy who was sent to prison for 16 years. And from that, it gave my career the biggest kick up the bum. I was just very lucky to be in a wonderful film written by wonderful Peter Berry and directed by a wonderful guy called Stephen Whittaker, who taught me so much about working for the camera. And it just moved me to a different avenue, really, and to a different level. And on the back of that, well, the first thing that happened on the back of that, I got a job in Sleepy Hollow. Tim Burton happened to be in England when it was aired on TV, staying at the Dorchester, and phoned my agent the next day and asked to meet me. So I went to meet Tim Burton at the Dorchester Hotel, who was just got out of the bath in his dressing gown, and said to me, "Oh, Mike, I saw you in this movie last night, and I'm doing this movie called Sleepy Hollow, but it's mostly cast, but I've got a part that I would love you to." And he just gave me a little part in his film, Sleepy Hollow, which I ended up being on for about 3 months. In England, I mean, it was also mainly around Marlow in Buckinghamshire. But no, things happened because of that film, and people remember that film for a long, long time, and I won an award for it. And it just set my career flying. So I was really, really lucky in that respect. And then with what followed, I was lucky as well.
And you've done loads of credible stuff. Then we see you as Kenneth.
Yeah.
And it's somewhat defined you. It's the thing that people love the most. It's the thing that people fell in love with. Are there moments you get in that wardrobe and say, I'm not putting that on?
I don't think they did want me to go topless in the very first episode. And I said, absolutely not. I don't want to go topless. And they said, but Johnny Vegas does. I said, well, good for Johnny. I said, I don't want to be topless. I said, me being topless in a 2-minute scenes mean me wobbling around a pool for 6 hours a day. And I said, it's not going to happen, which is kind of where the funny T-shirts came in, sort of thing, which I just think it's better. It'd be too distracted of my gut bouncing around your telly all day. So, I am horrified sometimes when I walk in. A lot of it is my own fault. A lot of it I say, shall we do this? And I suggest things to them. We've got some more crackers coming up this year, actually, for Series 9. That they sent me some pictures of the other day. But I love it. I mean, what a gift of a part. Do you know what I mean? You're right. I mean, I've had a really varied career, and for me, Kenneth's the icing on the cake. I mean, it's so nice to go to work and laugh and not have to cry all day.
And I so love that you embrace it, because you could be resentful of it looking at your CV. I mean, you are basically a classical actor who's gone into this role and nailed it. When you walk down the street, I guess you just get nothing but warmth.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you get warmth because I play a warm, loyal, loving, funny, cheeky character, and I don't resent Kenneth at all. I absolutely embrace him, and I'm very, very grateful to Darren Litton for giving him to me.
And continuing to, because there's some people have come and gone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's lots come and gone. I've been there now for, is it 6 years or 7 years? And I'm about to go back and do Series 9.
Good for you. It's brilliant. And then we look at your career, and again, Claire, you've done everything. I mean, let's start right at the beginning with Ken Dodd. Doddy comes here and still sells out, and there you were all those years ago. Does that sort of pay off being around people that great?
I was ever so grateful, because he was so instrumental in encouraging me at the beginning and getting me on his shows and just giving me experience and advice, really. He was brilliant. He was really, really helpful to me, and I really appreciate it. I'll never forget, I was doing, he invited us, he was on a panel show at ITV, London Studios, and he invited Mum, Dad and I down. And remember the Tom O'Connor show, That's Entertainment? He was on that. So in the dress green room after, there was lots of stars milling around, lots of execs from ITV and all that. And Doddy came in and stood with me, my mum and dad. I was 15 at the time, in the corner, and just gave me advice and chatted to me. And, you know, he just had time for me, and that is the most valuable thing ever, to give someone time, and I really appreciated it.
And again, to be given that enormous stage with that big a star, I always say to people, you forget that he was a musical star in his own right. I mean, those CDs, he's the third best-selling male solo artist in England ever. In the 60s, it was massive.
He's got a beautiful voice.
A beautiful voice,
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah.
And his partner, Anne, used to sit in the wings and write down the gags he told that night to make sure he didn't do the same show when he went back to the same venue next time. I thought it was just brilliant. Absolute brilliant.
And then from there, you went on to forge this incredible career. I suppose for you, Brookside was the moment where you realised you'd made it, because it doesn't get much bigger than that. Or were there things before where you pinch yourself?
Do you know, everything's relative, isn't it? I mean, Tony and I, we were in my flat yesterday. We started doing this thing of watching theme tunes, shows that we watched when we were kids. Oh, remember this one? And we were playing the music. And my one was Love Boat. And I always wanted to, I mean, I was obsessed with Love Boat when I was a kid. And I always had this vision of me going up the gangway, waving, carrying a vanity case, right? And when I auditioned for the cruise ships and I got on the cruise ships, and it was like a floating rep company. We used to do all different shows, learn shows, put them on, be doing plays. And I felt I'd arrived then, because I was travelling the world, I was doing all these shows, I was waking up in a different country. And everything is relative, isn't it? Because I loved Brookside. It was great to be home. It was great to be on TV. But if you're talking about actual pleasure in your work, I got more pleasure singing and dancing on the cruise ships.
And I guess that's a family where you can have fun whether you're on or off.
Yeah. So, you know, I've kind of enjoyed every moment.
Do both of you pinch yourself? I mean, it's tough to forge a career in this business. Getting there's one thing, staying there's quite another. And there are so many people who get to sort of dip their toe and then are out the business within minutes, and you're still here. It is a luxury, isn't it?
It's an absolute luxury, and I'm grateful for every minute that I'm here. And and I actually can't believe I'm still here after all these years. Yeah. No,
Do you know how funny you are? Is that what you try to be? I wonder whether you see yourself, because it's hard to get perspective on yourself. Do you realise when we see Kenneth, for example, how hysterical that is? And I think it will become iconic, that role.
Well, I mean, Kenneth would be nothing without the words I say. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a natural comedian, so...
An artist can't paint without a brush, but it's also vice versa.
He's a miserable bugger, trust me.
I'm aware from what people say to me on the street and the love for Kenneth.
We're going to get that now all the time. Do you realise how funny I am?
Tell that to the director the next time he heckles you over your time.
Yeah, exactly. And where Edna's concerned, of course I can hear the laughter coming back at me and the warmth. So, yeah, hopefully I'm getting it right.
You are naturally funny. You are. You make me laugh. We do laugh together, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like on the road? Because let's face it, you've been doing it a long time, and it is the same show. You might be able to do the odd bit differently here and there, but ultimately you've got to get out the theatre within 2.5 hours. Is it a struggle to get through the discipline of that, or are you just making it fun to enjoy it and be present?
It is difficult to get through the discipline of that, and it's something that we see in the youngsters that have just come into the show. They haven't learned that discipline yet. They will do. They'll learn it eventually, and as I did, I mean, I was so undisciplined when I started doing this. In that first job I was telling you about with Harry Seacombe, I let him down twice on stage within 2 nights. At the same point, I didn't come on stage because I was messing around with a dancer in the wings. Just giggling and being silly and not concentrating, and completely let Sir Harry Seacombe down. I was the punchline to his joke and I didn't come on for it. And he was stood there looking into the wings with his arm out to me, beckoning me to come on. I apologised to him the second night in exactly the same place. I did exactly the same thing.
I can't believe that.
And he then had to sing If I Ruled the World to me while the colour had drained from my face. And he suggested to me afterwards that I might be feeling a bit sick, and I immediately latched on to that. But I'm not feeling very well, Sir Harry. And bless him, such a lovely man. He sent some pills up to my room, to my dressing room. But it was, it was the biggest lesson I ever learned. And if people aren't disciplined in this job, it doesn't work.
I was going to say, you wouldn't do that twice, but you did.
I did.
It made me feel better with that story, because I missed one of my entrances. I was sat on the toilet with my Spanx around my ankles, and
I've got an image.
And I had no speaker of the show going, and next thing I'm hearing down through town, Miss Sweeney to the stage, and I'd missed one of my entrances and I couldn't get my Spanx up on time. And it actually traumatised me because I have never missed an entrance in my life. But Tony made me feel so much better with his Harry Seacombe story.
Yeah, twice in 2 nights. Yeah. Unforgivable.
You think you're the only person who's ever done it.
Yeah. And it's something that youngsters do. It's part of the learning process, right. But you have to learn quickly on this job. You have to, because if you're not disciplined, the whole thing that creates the magic will fall apart and the audience will start to see the holes.
And I guess with something so wordy as this show, you can't mess around because you start mucking with the timing and the whole thing would just be a mess. Panto, I suppose, is similar, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's tricky. And I mean, we've got these youngsters on stage who are so fabulous at what they do. And sometimes they can be a little bit noisy and they're not in the scene, and we keep ploughing at it and we say, come on guys, pull it together. And because the show will fall apart without their input, do you know what I mean? And they just haven't realised the value of what they give at the moment.
Or indeed the grandeur of being in a theatre like this. Does it ever become normal when you walk out and see that? I mean, this is a good example. The Theatre Royal Nottingham's another one. These are beautiful palaces of show business, aren't they?
They are. And sometimes, Tony and I, if we're totally honest, sometimes we go, oh my gosh, it's Groundhog Day, here we go again. We love the bits of sitting in the dressing room having a gossip, having a cup of tea. We love all the ritual around it. And sometimes you do get tired doing the same lines every single night, but then the audience is like rocket fuel. When you see the audience loving it and clapping and cheering, we come off buzzing. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you realise how lucky you are to be
it's true.
Doing what you do.
And how many people would want your role as well? I mean, they're two dream roles in musical theatre.
Yeah.
How are you? You must be exhausted for a start. I mean, you've got this new baby. How's that going? Because, I mean, you never stop, do you? Even when the baby was born, you were still carting the baby around and being a mum at the same time as being a star. It's tough.
And I was doing panto when he was 9 weeks old. So he was getting breastfed by a genie. Poor Jaxon, he's only ever seen sequins, crowns and glitter,
He may become Kenneth.
And he's seen lots of men dressed up as women as well.
He sees me come into my dressing room and I wave to him as Tony and he's all happy to see me. Then I walk out of the dressing room dressed as big scary Edna and he doesn't quite know what to make of it yet, does he?
And it makes me laugh because Tony is kind of not child friendly and he's really not into kids, but you've really started melting with Jax. I'll turn my back and I'll turn around and he'll be playing a game with Jaxon on the iPad or making a hat for him or something.
Yesterday we were singing to him. We were talking about the kids' TV themes. We put Skippy on and his ears pricked up, didn't they?
Skippy, didn't he?
Yeah, he loved it. Yeah.
Wasn't that the Addams Family you just did?
No, that's
There you go.
Skippy's slightly different.
Do you know where we're from? We're both from Liverpool, both in the same industry, both a similar age, and we've never met. And I get all these wasted years when we could have been mates.
I know, we grew up 5 miles apart.
I know, I can't believe it.
Thank God you don't hate each other, because this could be the worst gig in history.
Well, I was actually avoiding her for 20 years.
But we did share a dressing room in Ipswich and it went a bit tits up, didn't it?
Yeah, we nearly killed each other in Ipswich. We had to share a dressing room just because there was a lack of space. We said, we share a dressing room, this will be fun. It was a nightmare.
There was three of us in there. Well, what it is, at 19 minutes past 8, every single night I FaceTime my baby. But obviously the baby doesn't talk, so there's lots of nya. Jaxon, hiya Jaxon, nya. And this can go on for 10, 15 minutes, right?
It's like slow torture. It really is.
It's worse than me talking to you, isn't it?
And I'm like, bye-bye Jaxon, and his nanny.
We can string words together. I mean, I thought Jaxon was a really lovely name till after a week in Ipswich and Jaxon. And then he killed her. And then so I booted her out the dressing room. She started sitting on the stairwell going, Jaxon. The dancers upstairs started complaining.
If only people knew. I think they should put a show on behind the scenes, because I think that's as entertaining and as interesting.
Oh yeah, no, far more so sometimes, isn't it? I mean, the stuff that goes on, we can repeat a lot of it.
Do you do this because you can't walk away from it, or do you do it because you want to do it to keep you going because you love it so much? Because some would say, just go and be a mum and then come back. And that's always the toll. I watch Loose Women. I'm constantly confused what women should be. Should they be working and leave the baby, or should they be at home with it? It seems like it's a tough time to be a mum.
Who's going to pay my mortgages? It's a job. I don't do this. I did not go back to panto 9 weeks after the baby was born just to get a bit of accolade dressed as a genie. I don't need that. I had all the accolade I wanted with my baby and my family. I'm a single mum and I've got to pay the bills. And it's the only thing I know how to do. I love it. and lots of perks come with it. But it's the only way I know how to earn a living, and I've got a child to keep and property to keep, and I've got to pay my bills.
And you do it so well, and that's why you're both still here. Can we just, before we go, do one thing about the legends you've worked with? Because you both worked with so many incredible people. For you, who was number one? What was the moment when you went, wow, that's a star?
There was two moments, actually. There's my first one was, I'm a massive Shirley Bassey fan, and I'd gone there with all the gays and thrown the rose and done all that. And then one day I got absolutely drunk with her, and I did a concert with her at the Royal Albert Hall, and I remember holding her hand and taking a bow at the Royal Albert Hall, and my mum was in a box, and I looked at my mum and I went, can you believe this? I'm stood on stage next to her, holding her hand, taking a bow. And that for me was a real moment of, because I'm such a fan, it was like, wow. The other one was doing Guys and Dolls with Patrick Swayze. And I knew he was a star, and he was big in the 80s, and box office was good in the West End. And then when we opened, the road had police on and barricades, and it was like absolutely full. We were in Soho, and the whole road was full of people all screaming and shouting. There was police holding people back, and Patrick was my mate by then. We'd been in 4 weeks rehearsals together, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot Patrick. I didn't realise he was like a mega star and a legend. So yeah.
And as for seeing your face on a poster, does it ever become normal when you walk past a theatre like this?
What a funny question. I don't know. I don't think about it. Do you?
I do think about it. Yeah. No. When we you're walking through Sheffield and your face goes past on a bus.
Oh, we were on a bus. We buzzed when we saw the bus, didn't we? Yeah.
It is exciting. Yeah. No, I won't.
So again, you take it for granted. You don't think of it because you don't see it. But to me, when I walk by, I think, God, I'm just going to go and see those. It is extraordinary. I mean, not many people get their face on the side of a building or the back of a bus.
Wow.
Do you remember in Malvern we were on the sliding doors, like a full size figure. I was like, wow, we're on sliding doors. So, yeah. No, that's exciting. I mean,
the Empire in Liverpool, that was great.
The Empire for both of us was really great. I mean, they put a massive poster up outside on the roof, didn't they, for us?
It was wonderful.
When I arrived in Liverpool that day, I must admit I took a detour and drove past the Empire. So that was where I first saw a theatre show. Do you know what I mean? So that was really special for me.
Yeah.
But with regards to my heroes, this is an easy one. Julie Walters for me. She was like a childhood hero, and she'd done a lot on the Liverpool acting scene in the 70s and 80s. So she was a huge star to me. And then I got to play her son in a thing called My Beautiful Son, and then went on to do 2 more things with her, playing her friend in the film about Mo Molam that we did. And then I played her evil sidekick in a thing called Ruby and the Smoke. So that was a massive ambition filled for me. And aside from her, Johnny Depp. I'm not usually starstruck, but with Johnny Depp when I did Sleepy Hollow I was. And I'd stopped smoking when I was doing Sleepy Hollow. And we'd done this scene, me and Johnny, and he said to me, hey, Tone, you want to come and roll up? And I was like, oh, I can't turn down a cigarette with Johnny Depp. So I went and smoked with Johnny Depp behind the scenery, and it nearly killed me. But I thought, no, I'm going to get through this, do you know what I mean? So I can say I've had a roll up with Johnny Depp.
Is he a nice guy?
Lovely, really nice guy.
Is he gorgeous?
Yeah. He's very chiseled. I thought he was sucking his cheeks in. He's got that... No, those dimples. I thought he did it on purpose for the camera, but no, it's like he's got this bone structure.
Was it good watching him work?
When you watch them work, him and Christina Ricci, you really realise how little they actually do. They're doing nothing. And I thought, God, this is going to be rubbish. He hasn't done anything. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously you see it on a big screen. It's like, oh God, no, he's doing everything. It's all and again, you learn so much from watching people who've done it before you.
And again, what a privilege to be around this level of people, absolutely. And you're on screen with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
what's this that you keep huffing and puffing with? Well, sometimes huffing.
I've been smoking again. This is why I'm 3 stone fatter than 3 years ago. Is it the 11th of February?
Nearly tomorrow, isn't it?
I've stopped smoking 3 years tomorrow.
Oh. Wow.
So this is my dummy that is, they call this vaping. Everyone's vaping these days. And apparently they're now giving them out on the NHS. So this is the harmless and closest way I can get to a cigarette.
You can't lose weight though, because Kenneth needs to have a few pounds on him.
But you know what? There's limits. I mean, those hot pants are disappearing up my arse now. Do you know what I mean? See, the costumes are still the same, but I've got bigger. So.
Do you worry about your own health? Is it something is that the next thing? You've stopped the smoking, which is the worst. Now what is it? Snacking, carbs? What is it?
Well, yeah. No, we're actually both on diet at the moment. I've actually lost a bit of weight because.
Why are you on a diet?
I've never got rid of my baby belly.
Stop.
So
I was on tour doing this show night after night. I would lose weight, and apparently most people do. But I must be the only Edna that's got fatter. I mean, because we're devils, aren't we? We're quite partial to a spring roll.
Yeah, we both got a little. We're both addicted to food, and he talked me off the ledge yesterday because we had to walk past Cosmo's buffet. You did. You talked me off the ledge. You were brilliant.
Talked about us having the big buffet, but I did slip up and have a cream egg in the shop next door, didn't I, yesterday?
Yeah.
No more cream eggs.
No more cream eggs.
No more cream eggs. Listen, I wish you both well. I could talk to you all day.
You.
What an amazing career both of you have got and continue to have. Good luck with the rest of the run. Hairspray's on here in Sheffield at the Lyceum and then continues around the country. You're back in Benidorm in a month?
In a month, yeah. Before that, we're going to Cambridge, Edinburgh, Inverness, Bristol, and then I go.
Thank you so much for talking to me. I'm such a big fan because you two are the epitome of pros. And if people want to see how to do it and have a long career, do it properly. Because both of you have, haven't you, really? You've worked hard at it. There's none of this going in for the quick fame and getting out quickly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I mean, one day I was appearing in Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. The next thing I was in Where the Heart Is up in Yorkshire. Do you know what I mean? So that's
nothing more humbling than show business, is it? Claire Sweeney, thank you so much.
Thank
and Tony,
you.
great to talk to you.
Thank you.